fled the scene like nothing happened. All because no one's raised them. No one's raising these kids. The streets are raising them to be killers. We're going to talk about Areanah Preston. This is a young lady, 24-year-old police officer who lost her life off duty when she was attacked by 4 teenagers in Chicago. She was literally going into her house and she was gunned down by 4 teenagers. Now, I wanted to do an update because they have arrested these 4 individuals that were involved. I covered this on my live stream, and I've always questioned, now, this is a young black woman. She's on the right side of the law. And we have no protests. There have been no protests with the violence that's actually happening in Chicago, in Detroit, Portland, California, Oakland, California, New York City, Pennsylvania, where even officers are losing their lives. Even we have other individuals, 3 police officers that died recently in Minnesota, and another one, I believe it was in Wisconsin somewhere. A young lady lost her life. A police officer lost her life. But we know that if you're on the right side of the law, we won't hear nothing about Black Lives Matter or police lives matter. That's because you're on the right side of the law. And to me, it doesn't matter what type of occupation you have. When a young lady that's doing the right thing lose her life in front of her house, to me, it's disgusting. And you think the community will be outraged from that. The police did their job. They end up finding the 4 individuals that was involved.
We're here today to announce charges in the tragic murder of our fallen hero, Officer Areanah Preston. She was a beloved daughter, sister, and friend who wanted to make a difference in this world. Those who knew her would tell you that that's exactly what she did. She wanted to help create a better future for Chicago, but the incomprehensible actions of 4 offenders took that future from her, and the loss to this city is tremendous. Trevor Breland, age 19, Joseph Brooks, also age 19, Chawanne Burns, age 18, and a 16-year-old juvenile who will also be charged as an adult, have all been charged with first-degree murder for the killing of Areanah Preston, who is just 24 years old. The offenders will also be charged with multiple counts, including armed robbery, arson, burglary, possession of a stolen motor vehicle, and unlawful use of a weapon. These individuals were out looking for victims in the overnight hours of Friday into Saturday morning and are connected to multiple robberies and a motor vehicle theft earlier that morning, leading up to the murder of Officer Preston. As Officer Preston was returning home from her tour of duty early Saturday morning, 4 offenders pulled up in a stolen vehicle. The offenders quickly exited the vehicle and ran towards Officer Preston while armed. An offender fired at Officer Preston, who returned fire. The offenders continued to shoot Officer Preston, and offenders stole Officer Preston's weapon before all offenders fled the scene in a stolen vehicle. An officer from the 4th District was responding to a call of a traffic crash when he discovered Officer Preston. This officer immediately rendered aid and drove Officer Preston to the hospital, where she was pronounced. I'd like to take this time to ask that everyone keeps this officer and all the responding officers that day in your prayers as they process the trauma that they experienced. I want to thank the community for its help in bringing closure to and justice to Areanah. And thanks to our detectives from Area 2 and the officers who worked tirelessly to identify and apprehend these individuals. With the grief of losing a fellow CPD officer, they worked their investigation to bring justice to Areanah and her family. I also want to thank our federal partners, including ATF and FBI, who's represented here today by Christopher Amon, Special Agent in charge of the ATF, and Daenerys Coleman, Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI, who offers support and resources throughout this investigation. I also wanted to acknowledge Cook County State's Attorney's Office, who's represented here today by Chief Deputy Assistant State's Attorney Thora Martin, for working with us. To all of our community members who have supported and shown kindness in the wake of this heartbreak, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I ask that everyone continue to pray for Areanah's family and as they navigate this world without her. While we know this does not ease the pain, we hope that knowing the people responsible for her murder have been caught and brings a small measure of peace to them. Though Areanah is not physically here with us, her spirit and service of kindness will forever carry on, and we will never forget her.
Thank you, Superintendent. First of all, on behalf of ATF, we want to send our sincere condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Officer Preston and the entire Chicago Police Department. This tragic violence is unacceptable here in the great city of Chicago. Our law enforcement partnerships will not allow this to continue, and these charges today represent the efforts of the collaboration among the men and women of CPD, ATF, FBI, the State's Attorney's Office, and the citizens of Chicago. I've directed every ATF resource available to investigate the crimes not only charged today, but resources to assist CPD in solving firearm violence affecting Chicago each and every day. And finally, ATF and our partners will honor Officer Preston's memory by focusing our resources on investigating prolific, violent gun offenders with a sense of urgency that is so desperately needed to prevent another tragedy. Thank you very much.
A heartbroken mother. A mother that's full of anger, rage, questions why. We poured into her. We poured into her education. But as I said in that courtroom today, the people I really felt sorry for was those boys. I felt sorry for them because nobody obviously didn't pour into them. Nobody told them that they were loved. Nobody told them that you can do anything like I constantly preach to my daughters. My daughter was 24. Criminal justice was her background. She graduates May 13th. From Loyola. Education is what we preach. As crazy as this may sound, I pray for their family. I really, really do. I pray for their family. Anytime you can shoot somebody and say, that was my work, what kind of human would say that about another human being? We're gonna get through this. Areanah will get justice. You guys are gonna be seeing a lot of me. A whole lot of me. Because I'm a praying mama. And I had a beautiful daughter that I know deserves justice. She's supposed to be in the courtroom. Well, here I am. I'm in the courtroom for her. God is good. Keep praying for us.
What will justice look like in this case for your eyes?
Justice to me is life, a life sentence. That's justice for us.
Nothing brings her back, but does this give you some measure of closure of relief?
I think the hole in our hearts will never be closed. It just won't close. We're a tight-knit family. We did everything together. We did everything together. You're talking about a missing person. We planned so much. We planned trips together. We planned graduations party together. We're missing someone. It's always going to be a hole that can't be filled.
So you saw the mother. My heart goes out to this family because I'm the mom's age. I mean, that could have very well been my baby. I have nephews a little bit older than her, and I got a niece that's older than her. So like literally, these could be my children. So I just, my heart goes out to her, and she was absolutely correct. You know, these young men that committed this crime, you were so able to take a life without question or second guessing yourself, and you fled the scene like nothing happened. All because no one's raised them. No one's raising these kids. The streets are raising them to be killers. So what do you do with that? And you hear that the police force and the prosecutor, they're charging them as adults. Well, they are adults actually, but the 16-year-old will be charged as an adult, which he should be. So hopefully they don't botch this case up. They said they couldn't find a weapon that they stole from the police officer. So I'm just praying that they don't botch this case up and these people will actually serve time. But I'm going to keep you updated on this. And finally, they're saying that the ATF is going to help out with the gun violence in Chicago. They're going to help them investigate gun violence in Chicago because they really need it. Chicago is if you're a woman in Chicago, you should be really scared because like they said, these men targeted females. So if you're a woman, you probably are afraid to live in Chicago by yourself. And she was trained, but she was ambushed. She was trained police officer and she was ambushed. So my heart goes out to her. I'll keep you updated, you guys. Let me know in the comments section, comments, what you think about this case. Do you think they gonna really prosecute these individuals and see it through? Chicago has a I think they said 10% prosecution rate. It's either 10 or 20% prosecution rate. So it's not very high. So and hopefully just because maybe they'll try their hardest because they're actually she's a police officer, they'll try their hardest to convict these men. But they shouldn't be out on the street. They definitely shouldn't be out on the street. So put in the comment section. Let me know what you think. I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.